everyone, welcome to the channel. It's great to be with you. I'm continuing this page in Autumn Charm by Teresa Goodridge. It's a Creative Haven book and I'm using Prismacolor pencils. So today we're going to hopefully finish up the page. So I'm going to pull out the Prismacolor pencils. I've got my blender. So it's all around me here. A colorless blender I find very helpful to speed up coloring. So if you don't have one, I do recommend one. I use just the standard Prismacolor blender. Okay, so I want to do a red truck and a red barn. So that's what we're going to do. And let's see how this works out. So I'm thinking a nice deep red. So we're gonna go with, I always like starting with my darkest colors first. And then kind of working it out from there. Now, I haven't done that many vehicles, so this is going to be very interesting to see how this actually works out. Let's have a look. Alright, so we need just a picture of a truck. In South Africa, we don't call them trucks, we call them bakkies. But we will call them trucks. And I don't even know what they would call them here in the UK. See, to me a truck is a big ass, what British people call a lorry. That's a truck. But that's just getting onto semantics. So let's just find a nice car, get some idea of the lines. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll just figure it out. I think that should be a highlight, and maybe that. So this here will be quite dark, I reckon. Okay, well, we'll just do what we can and it will be what it will be. So what I really like with these sort of pictures is, if I don't know what I'm doing, by placing down my shadows, it just helps me figure out and get my bearings. Now I think behind here is sort of like a some sort of glass so that you can see out. And I think we'll make these ridges a bit more accented. Okay, so here this is getting a bit lost. I'm a bit confused what the circles are. Hi Kenny, I'm happy to be here. I was delayed just quickly sorting out a few things at home. So apologies for the delay. And on top of everything, daylight savings has kicked in. So I always find the first week of daylight savings, I'm a bit disoriented and I feel like time is either going too fast or too slow. And sometimes both, all in the same day. But we are here and ready to rock and roll and color some gorgeous buildings and trucks and all things nice. How are you doing? I can zoom in a bit for you guys, so it's a little bit more detailed. There we go. I'm thinking of doing these bunting actually white or an off-white. I think that could look pretty. I think underneath here it will be dark. Oh, thank you. I am doing as well as can be expected. I'm not, yeah, I think I've recovered from having a cold or a virus, which is really, really great. and I am taking vitamins and trying to look after myself. I actually had my one son, he went to a birthday party, and while I was waiting for him to be done, I actually took myself to a coffee shop and had a coffee and several hours all to myself. And I actually need to practice doing that a lot more. And I think that would be really beneficial for me and for everyone. So I am hoping to do that a bit more. And I was able to color in and journal, and I really valued having that time, to be honest. And sometimes just getting away out of the house is really helpful. Just my own space. Yeah. I mean, I think it's just because I have my mood swings, and they vary a lot in a month. So when I feel myself dipping, it's just one of those things that I have to wait for it to pass and kind of fix. So I'm hoping as I get older, my moods settle. Like wishing here, wishful thinking. Please, I don't want to be moody for the rest of my life. But I am watching it closely. If my moods start really becoming too much of an issue, I will see what else I can do, get some medical advice. But I actually just think they're largely hormonal, and I just have to learn how to take care of me and work through it and all that sort of stuff. So that often can tend towards fatigue, headaches. Thanks for understanding, Kenny. So it seems that Emily Lederhall-Oberg's book, Fairy Tales and Folklore, is currently out of stock. And I'm now trying to decide whether to cancel my pre-order on Amazon and pre-order somewhere else and hope that I get a copy of this book eventually, or whether to just wait and see what Amazon does, because sometimes these pre-orders can just take a while. So I'm not sure. I think I had expected the publishers to have published a lot more stock. So I'm really, really grateful that Emily's had so many people buy her book and that it has been a roaring success. And I'm very sad for me because I haven't got a copy yet. But I think it might just be that I need to just practice my patience, practice patience, just wait patiently. All good things come to those who wait, kind of speech that I've heard my entire life, and see what happens. Because honestly, I even if I do a Google search, all the suppliers that come up are out of stock or waiting for stock. So, yeah. It's a bummer, but what can you do? We just keep coloring what we've got and moving forward, being patient. Now, I promise this is going to go red. I'm just building shadows here. Really like building shadows. I am going to do a video of a watercolor guide that I bought by a watercolor artist over on Instagram. I've been watching her Instagram reels for quite a while, and I really love how she paints and just her teaching style. So I'm very excited to share this book she's just released with everyone, because if I just think that I want to send out so much love to this lady, because I think she's done such a great job, and she's executed her first watercolor book so well. I've been so impressed because I've read through the first section of the book, and then I've been practicing some of her tutorials, and they've just really been so lovely. So I'm planning on doing that video soon and then releasing it so you all can see and see if it's your cup of tea, if you're interested in watercolor paints, if you're interested in step-by-step tutorials, both visually and in writing form. I think what Lacey's done is just really going to tick all those boxes. Oh wow, you're having high winds. Gosh. That can't be fun. Oh, thank you, Kenny. You're very kind. I love coloring. I love being creative. What I am working on at the moment is sort of just allowing myself to enjoy the process and not worry whether it comes out a certain way. Just get in there and color. Okay, now I'm going to try and bring in those beautiful reds. I don't think I'm going to go towards orange, too much orange, but I will brighten it up with those warm oranges. Or the orangey reds, I should say. Warm orangey reds. And I think it's going to work so well with these pumpkins. I was really encouraged to see, I think it's Coloring with Meg, who's done the pumpkin hashtag. How many pumpkins have you colored kind of hashtag. So I'm really excited that she's extended, or her hashtag is going on into November, because then all my pumpkins, they'll count. And I want my pumpkins to count, because I think they're great. Hi Brittany, how are you? Right, so just building up gorgeous reds. I think the Prismacolor reds are my favorite brand of red pencils. Although I must say it was the Derwent Artist set of 36 that actually really taught me how to layer my reds in a way to get them brighter. So I learned very quickly with the Derwent Artist that you had to layer your pencils to get the variation of red that you want, because the set of 36 didn't really come with very vibrant reds or very deep reds. I could get a very good orangey red, but some of my other reds I struggled. So I had to kind of practice layering up. And recently I've been finding that if I lay the pencil flat like this, I can actually get a lighter kind of shade, or how do I put it, layer, a lighter layer of the pencil. And that also can help with blending and help me keep it smooth. But if I want it really deep, then I go a bit more upright. Yes, I remember charcoal working in a similar way. And I think graphite, you would do that too. You would blend and build up your colors, but you would also, to transition them from your shadows into your lights, you would use I played with graphite for initially, because when I was teaching myself drawing, I drew in graphite. And I only got into colored pencils back in 2013. And that was very weird for me. I actually struggled to move from black and white into color. And eventually I kind of got my head slowly around it and was able to work with it. To the point where now, if I do graphite or charcoal, I tend to not keep my lines or my shadows as defined. So you definitely get different results. And I do think that the more practice and more familiar you are with coloring supply, whether it's charcoal, graphite, colored pencils, alcohol markers, paint, the more you understand how it works, and then you can take the same principles and apply them and get good results. And the nice thing with holding it flat, you can cover a lot more surface area. So I think it can speed up a little bit the coloring process. I'm probably going to use similar reds on the barn. What I love with Prismas is they're so soft, and charcoal is also, and your soft pastels, they're also quite soft. So I think, yeah, there's a lot you can do with them. I would find hard pencils probably a bit harder. I don't like hard pencils. They're not my favorite, if you know what I mean. Even when I was drawing with graphite, I found I loved the Bs, 2B, 3B, 4B, 5, what was it, 6B. I loved those. I didn't like the H range of the regular pencils. I understood why they were there, and how I understood the basic principles of using them. But I preferred the softness and the richness of the B range pencils. Right, this is a lovely truck. Yes, oil pencils do tend to be harder. Although I do like them, I do like my polys, and I would definitely say Prismas are my favorite, or these soft pencils are my favorite. But I think polys do have their place, and especially when you find books they work well in. So I think that kind of goes to there. So we'll just blend this in very lightly. Hi Leslie, how are you? It's so great to see from you and hear from you. How have you been keeping? Exactly. Polys are next to Prismas. I think polys are great for hair. Hair and fur. So I'm going to finish the truck highlights with a permanent red. Wait, is it? No. Yes, permanent red. So it's a bit more orangey. And then I think we could probably do highlights with a Posca pen. I mean, it's like, I don't want it to be a faded red. It's a nice, attractive red truck. And it's got all these delicious pumpkins around it for sale. So it's not a vintage truck. It's a nice, inviting red truck. Oh, I don't know the Prismacolor set of pencils. The more I've colored over the years, the more I've found that it's nice to have lots of different types of things to color with. But if I was to just pick two pencil sets, I would pick Prismas and Polys and I would be happy. I would also still kind of say a watercolor pencil, so I would still go for Inktense. And I think just those on their own, you could color for days on end and it would still work really well. They're quite versatile. Yeah, you can't go wrong with Inktense, polys, and Prismas. And then I would say have a good white gel pen. Jury's still out for me on like which is the best white gel pen. But yeah, I definitely have a white gel pen and then a black fine liner. So if you need to touch up any like black details or anything you need a specific black detail, I would use a black fine liner. And then everything else for me would be, you know, nice to haves. Right, I am going back in here because I just want to deepen this up here. But yeah, this paper doesn't take loads of layers, so that's the other nice thing. You don't have to, you know, layer for days unless you really wanted to. You could do a quick coloring here and it would still look nice and rich in values and tone, but it would also, it also colors quickly. Sounds like you found a lot of things, Brittany, to add to your collection. So this is coming together quite nicely. Nice red chalk. Right, so I'm gonna probably go back down and just build it up slightly. This is my problem with reds. I just always feel like I need to make it richer and richer and richer. Yeah, I think the blender will help. I agree with you. I still don't know what these little circles are. They don't look like they're in the right place for indicator lights or even brake lights. They're very odd. Like, what do I do with them? I'll leave them for last, and if in doubt, I will search social media. Social media can tell me what to do with that. So I'm just cleaning my blender off because it's got purple and dahlia purple on it. So I don't particularly want too much purple on my truck. I wanted a red truck, not a purple. When in doubt, use a blender. It works really well. Just get everything to work. You could probably even use the mineral spirits if you don't like blending pencils. Hi Noelle, how are you? Alright, just tidy up my leaves. Yeah, I'm doing all right, thank you. Had a very productive Monday, which was very nice for a change. Usually my Monday mornings and my Mondays are a typical Monday. And today's Monday was pretty good. Right, okay, so red car, except I need to do red rear view mirror, so let's quickly do that. They just look very oddly oddly placed. They might be brake lights. Okay, so here I probably need to do this fender red too. Yeah, so I forgot the bumper. I tell you, there's always pieces. You start off one and then it's, oh my goodness, I forgot that. And then, you know, it just kind of builds on itself. It's like the inside of the tires here. I'm feeling very lost with all the inside circles. I'm like, what do I need to color black? What do I need to color silver? It's not always clear. All right, I'm gonna make the glass kind of like that bluey look that we all typically see when we're coloring glass windows and all that. I think I will have to look at some reference pictures. I am finding those lights very, very odd. Oh dear. See, that's my fear with red. It's easy to pick up with Prismas and blend it in. Right, car almost done. So I need some browns to do like the fencing. I'm thinking not to do a dark brown here. I'm thinking to do more like a yellowy kind of going on thing there. So possibly more this sort of color. I like that bright yellowy kind of thing going on there. So let's see. So here I'm gonna try light. I do find text is not my favorite thing to color. I don't always know how to color it, so I tend to kind of shy away. Sometimes my solution to text is more a case of where's the gel pen and what color do I put? Right. 945, I think, is a Sienna brown. Yep. Right, okay, there we go, something like that. Yeah, I don't know. Right, so let's do pumpkin leaves and pumpkin stalks. And then sometimes I find pieces that I've completely missed. I just have to go over them. Right, and then I'm going to take a Putty Beige. Okay. I am busy formulating a plan for this red barn. And we'll probably give it a muted blue roof. Yeah. Okay. On to the red barn, because that's more fun. Hi Mona, how are you? Thank you, I'm glad you like it. Okay, red barn, here we come. I have no way of knowing the direction of my light source, so I guess it's just kind of hanging down. Suppose ideally one should have thought through a light source. I am doing well, thank you. Enjoying the autumn colors, actually, really enjoying the autumn colors. just love the beautiful reds and oranges and yellows. And I've been admiring how nature combines all these beautiful colors in such a natural and picturesque kind of way. I need to find 1088. I'm trying to remember what blue that is. I think it's like a muted turquoise, which I think is here. Yes, yay, I found it, I remembered. Okay, so muted turquoise. It was another busy weekend. We had one child training rugby, one child playing a rugby match. So we were all over the place. But it's good, it's good. It's all these things that just make life good. Oh, I tell you, autumn is just divine. Oh, I'm so sorry you missed out on the autumn colors. But at least you have beautiful weather most of the year. I mean, that is a real blessing. One, oh, two, three. There you are. I think what I really enjoy this year is just really taking a break, and wherever I'm at, whether I'm driving or walking about, and just noticing, you know, the world around me, and trying to notice nature. And I think that's been a real help, to be able to just really stop and think and observe, and kind of like more from an artistic angle, where I'm trying to look and see, okay, well, where does the natural light hit, where do the shadows hit? And while I was watching my one son train before he played his rugby match, I was also like trying to notice perspective in nature, because, or just the world around me, because I'm actually not really good at drawing perspective. I find it very frustrating. And if you start adding like all these various different types of perspective, it really boggles my brain, and I do find it tricky. But then I'm trying to think, okay, well, you know, the artists that have come before, they didn't have Google and YouTube videos and all of that. They learned what they learned through observation. So, you know, it's just like trying to practice that and see what could I see by just noticing the world around me. So I really enjoyed doing that this autumn, and I've really found it helpful. Kind of like drawing the world around me with my mind, or my mind is my canvas. Everything works out so much better in my mind than if I put it down on paper. Oh, I tell you, illustrating perspective is very hard. My eldest son has a very natural, how do I put it? He takes to it quite well, so he can draw it. And following the tutorials on YouTube, he does really well. And I marvel at it because I just find it very, very tricky. But I can understand how it's important to, if you're illustrating, to be able to know how to place and build your picture from background, midground, foreground, and then you want to have perspective. So I can see how beneficial that can be. And definitely is probably worth practicing. But again, it's like drawing faces. So if I was to take pen and paper or pencil and paper and try and draw a human face, it's really difficult for me to do that. Using a reference photo does help, but drawing people is not my forte. That's why I always stuck to drawing cartoon things or my mom's fake flowers and I'd make my own still life, because that was so much easier than trying to draw people. I mean, trying to draw animals and birds was, even that is easier than trying to draw people and perspective. You've never had a desire to draw, and drawing nature rather than people myself. You prefer drawing nature. I mean, when I go into like the museums, the art museums, and it's just century after century of the most beautiful pictures of people and portraits, I'm like, holy moly, like how did they do that? How, to create such beautiful pictures. It's absolutely breathtaking. And I stand often in awe of the artists of old. I'm not very good with modern art, I do confess. I struggle with the abstract art. Oh yes, painting landscape instead of drawing them would be much more fun. Okay, so for my red barn, I am going to use reds, but I'm also going to use browns. So I need to kind of combine my reds and my browns. So I'm probably going to do a mixture of things. So I need a dark umber could actually work. Okay, so we do want to try and keep the lines of the timber. No, you don't like modern art, no. Okay, I'll be fair. There have been times where I've gone and come across some forms of modern art and I've thought, okay, this one I can work with. But that abstract stuff, and you know, some of them do these installations with pipes, and it's outdoors, and I just can't see it. I think because it's too big, and I can't feel the space in its entirety, and I can't imagine it. Whereas some people, you know, they can take a shape and kind of twist it around in their mind's eye, and then they can see the entire structure, and it works for them. And my brain doesn't work that way. So I'm like, no, modern art is lost on me. Sorry to all people who love modern art and are modern artists. I'm really sorry. Your art is lost on me. There was one piece of modern art I did come across. It was an installation, and they used music, paintings, and story, or kind of like people's stories, and that worked because it was an experience I could relate to. But yeah, most of it does get a bit lost, unfortunately. Give me the Reformation, the Renaissance, and I'm happy. Oh wow, Noel, that's amazing. Your son is an amazing portrait artist, and he's living doing it on social media, serious to cartoon. Oh, that's amazing. How did he get started as an artist and progressing into cartoons, social media, and all of that? Oh wow, it's a pity that most art galleries in the US are taking in abstract art. I love realism as well. It is very, very beautiful. I can go as modern as probably Van Gogh and Monet, but that's as far as I can really go, and then I start to get lost. And then the artwork kind of goes, yeah, no, I'm done. But then again, to be fair, when it comes to history, I prefer ancient to 1800s more. I don't really like modern history per se. So it doesn't completely surprise me that I get a bit lost with modern art on top of it. Okay, so I have got my doors. This wood here inside these beams will have to be the same as my barn. Yeah, exactly. I don't understand modern art either. Like, I mean, there have been times where I've gone to an art gallery and it may have some local artists featuring in it. And sometimes their artwork is sort of trying to address issues current in the world today or in society. So like this one piece, this lady was addressing, I think, issues around immigration. So she did beautiful portraits actually, and they were all, and it was all linked to the story she was trying to address about struggles a certain group of immigrants had. So that I really did appreciate, and I understood kind of where she was going and what she was doing. But then in the same day, I had seen a lady's installation, and her thing, I think, was trying to address like noise in the world, and she had like water as a feature, but then all these vacuum cleaners on, and I found it so overstimulating. I walked in, heard the noise. Within 5 seconds, I was desperate to get out of that room because of just the overwhelming noise that I was experiencing. So I didn't get that piece of art. But things like Pablo Picasso, where it's circles and squares and distorted faces, I don't get it. Surrealism, though, I must say, surrealism is a little intriguing. But it's still kind of taking the real world and bending it. And if it bends too far, I'm done. Oh, wow, Noelle, that's amazing. Your son loved drawing even as a kid, mostly self-taught, with some online classes with his favorite artists. Social media came along during COVID, and just to make people smile, took off from there. That's so cool. Okay, I'm laying down browns because I want a reddish brown more than a red. So I do want to be using more of my reds. But I'm not gonna do it too dark because I want the brown to be more like, I suppose you could say, an undertone. I think what I'm going to do with the beams here, I'm just going to use a white gel pen. So I think after this I'm going to put down some henna, some Tuscan red, and then I'll see how that's looking, because I'm trying to do like a brownish red or a muted red. So I want to make sure I've got enough browns. So this is probably the part where you're supposed to test your swatches, make a swatch on the side and then see if the colors you've got will work, and not do it this way where I'm testing it on the page. Okay, and then I'm going to use some Scarlet Lake. so I think that's a nice sort of muted red. So I've used dark umber, dark umber, Tuscan red, burnt sienna, henna, and Scarlet Lake. Oh, thank you, Kenny. It's getting there. I will take gel pen though on a lot of places and use gel pen for fine details. I think it's just going to work so much better. It's actually hilarious. Whenever I see the style barn, I always think it's a red barn. I can't imagine it being any other color than a red barn. Okay, so then I'm going to bring in my Scarlet Lake. Yes, all barns need to be red. Okay, I keep forgetting if I've put Tuscan Red, so I'm just going to add it in. I still have to do the dog, and I'm like, what color do I do the dog? I definitely don't want to do him golden because I'm worried he will get lost on the path. So that leaves me with, like, do I do him a chocolate brown? Do I do him a black? Or I could do him white. And then I am using some Crimson Lake just in some of the shadowier bits. I find red you need to really balance your reds. So you like to make my reds be the color I want. At this point in my understanding of colors, it's balancing the different types of reds with the oranges and all of that to get what I want. Now, as far as I understand, if you want like a brighter, warmer red, you want to add more yellows and oranges. If you want a cooler red, you want to add more blues. But now this, even though it's a muted red, I still wanted to have a warmth to it, so I still need to keep that orangey kind of undertone going. Okay, let's blend this and see how it goes. I also don't mind if it's not a very vibrant red, because I feel like it's a well-used barn. It's not a newly painted barn, so I don't mind it having a little bit of like faded paint, so to speak. And I also don't mind this side being a bit more brighter than the back here. Okay, so here I'm just quickly doing this section, trying to make sure it's the same reds and browns. Alright, so red barn is done. Okay, so that is the red barn. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you like it. Alright, I'm going to do these windows, that kind of bluey look. You could do them black if you wanted to show that the barn was empty. I want to show that it's inviting. So I'm going to kind of go for that inviting look. The whole point is we've got pumpkins to sell. So I want my barn to kind of have a little bit of an open feel to it. Please come in and buy my pumpkins. And I think this here I'm going to probably do like a grey. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you like it. Do you want to see me color this house? Because I can do that quickly. It won't take terribly long. But otherwise, the rest of it I can color off camera and finish up. Okay, to kind of turn that into like a bush. So I need to just make my evergreen trees a little bit just color that in quick. It's so quick to color these trees. Okay, more windows here, so let's make sure they stay open. Okay, so I'm going to do greys, and I'm going to bring in some green greys. So like Celadon greens, Jade greens, that kind of thing. And we're just going to kind of create a muddy sort of grey here. So this won't take terribly long to quickly paint. Alright, so then I want some like Celadon green. And I think even with the bricks, I'm going to use a gel pen. I'm just varying my bricks for now. I want some light umber. And then you can use some goldenrod. Okay. I use dark grays. Okay, so then dark umber. so here we need the same kind of color roof. Right, I think your tree here will probably be, I'll probably do that in a fine liner with pencil, and then come along here and make this more like black. But yeah, I think all of this up here will need to be a fine liner, and then probably something like this putty beige. But no, not really. Like, which one is it? Sandbar brown. Just use that to kind of add in some of the branches, but then the very little bits I would do with a fine liner. And then up here I probably would use similar colors. Alright, I'm going to zoom out so you can see, but I will finish the rest another day. So, bring you out. Right, and that is what it looks like. So I've just got a few bits and pieces to touch up, as you can see, so it's not too bad. I just gonna need to finish that bit of the barn in the same reds, and then it's just trees, leaves. I'll do this the same color as that, so variety of browns, but then it's pretty much done. So thanks for hanging out. I really appreciate you. I'm going to love and leave you and take myself off to bed, and hope to see you next week, Monday, for another video. I'm thinking of either carrying on with Drommenwanger or moving into a mythographic book. So yeah, I'll give it some thought. Let me know your preferences, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Until then, everyone, take care and thanks for hanging out. Bye.